How's it going, everybody, and welcome to episode 333 of Master My Garden podcast. Now, this episode is a bonus episode, I guess, this week, and it is to promote and to tell you guys about the Laois Garden Festival, Buds and Blossoms, which is coming up on the 7th of June. Now, we're right in the middle of, garden festival season, lots of plant fairs on, lots of gardening events on all around the country. And this is a festival that has been going for a good number of years now, and it's in Spink Community Grounds, County Laois, so quite local to me. And as many of you will know, I've spoken at it in previous years, and this is a sort of a preview of the event that's coming up. The festival itself, the main part, is on Sunday the 7th of June, but there's a lot of events taken in some of the gardens that are on the Laois Garden Trail on the 6th, so Saturday the 6th. So for anyone that's traveling, from any distance away, great opportunity to, take it in over a weekend, take the Saturday and the Sunday and combine some events together. Some very good, and we'll go through them all in a minute, some very, very good events on the Saturday, and a bit like the festival itself, the events on the Saturday are catering to a diverse range of interests. So, anything from yoga to willow weaving, to gardens, to there's a bit of diversity in that. So that can sometimes happen with families, when you're visiting a garden festival or, gardens, open gardens that, one or two members want to see the garden or want to see the gardening element, but the others maybe not so much. So with the diversity in what's happening over that weekend, you can definitely get something to suit everybody. And as I say, you can make a weekend out of it. So going to kind of run through the speakers, run through a lot of the vendors, some brilliant, loads of vendors at it, but loads of very, very good specialist nurseries. So, various nurseries doing, certain niche things that they're very good at. And I won't know them all. I don't know all the nurseries, but I certainly know some of them. And, you can pick and choose, and you'll get unusual plants as not just your run-of-the-mill type stuff. So yeah, really interesting lineup, and an interesting lineup of, as I say, stall holders or vendors. On top of that, the day itself it's in a community ground, so there's a nice community feel to it. But on top of that, as I mentioned, within the grounds, so there's a nice area. If you're going with smaller children, for example, there's a nice area there where they can do arts and crafts, and there's face painting and all those things. So there's kind of something to keep everybody interested. There's elements of, farm and country life. There's different people talking about beekeeping and woodworking and different things. So there's, as I say, and I know this myself from my family, that certain times there may be, I suppose, I might want to go somewhere, but it doesn't suit everybody. And, you try to cater for everyone, but sometimes what I want to see is not what they want to see. But with this, you have a little bit of diversity. So, the festival itself the main festival is Sunday, the 7th of June. It's in Spink Community Grounds in County Laois. And the main speakers this year are celebrity chef, he's the chef on Ireland AM. It's Edward Hayden, and he's the author of several not gardening, cooking books. And he's the main speaker, and he's going to be talking about obviously cooking things, but maybe there's a combination there with the growing element. So very, very good guest speaker, and again, showing the diversity of not just gardening content. So somebody who's interested in cooking or baking will find an interest in that. Another speaker on it is Kieran Fitzgerald, who's previously been on the podcast. He's the head gardener in Johnstown Castle. Brilliant episode. I forget the number offhand now, but that was a brilliant episode with Kieran. And if any of you follow Johnstown Castle and what they're doing, or have you been a regular visitor there, the work that he's doing in I suppose, the restoration of those gardens and bringing back their former glory is, what he's done over a relatively short period of time is very, very good. He's also doing it with, I suppose, an ethos around gardening ecologically and doing a lot of work, particularly at the moment, doing a lot of work around removing invasive species. I know if you are there that day, don't try and get him to like cherry laurels. He won't buy that at all. So he's basically restoring these fabulous gardens down there. I know they've planted huge amounts of perennial borders over the last couple of years. Most of what they've planted have been grown on site. The restoration of the greenhouse, I believe, is that could be finished at this stage, or it's certainly going on. Um, so a great story to tell there around the restoration of Johnstown Castle. A brilliant gardener as well. Just the range and the depth of his knowledge across the various, I suppose, disciplines within gardening. Obviously, certain amount of garden design in what he's doing, but the growing element really, good grower, restoration, the removal of invasive species, and trying to bring back gardens into, I suppose, more ecologically friendly areas or eco-friendly areas. It's also established large meadows there, so not just floral meadows or small wildflower meadows that we would be used to on a garden scale, but on a much larger scale down there, he has brought back wildflower meadows again with an eye to supporting biodiversity. So really good down to earth, very good gardener, and a broad depth of, I suppose, knowledge within the various fields of gardening. The next speaker is Darragh McCullough, who many of you will know. Darragh is journalist, with the Irish and the Farming Independent. He's also one of the main people for a number of years on Ear to the Ground, so we'll recognize him from that. But he's going to be talking about Elm Grove Farm is his farm, which is a diverse farm which has multiple elements to it. So I think the original story, and I'm not sure if he'll go into this on the day, was that they were a dairying herd, then they went into growing onions, I believe. There could be maybe some element of dairy now again, but there's also a huge flower farm. So he does a huge amount of cut flowers, sells bulbs, but in recent years, coffee shop and garden centre have been added. So a vast range of, I suppose, enterprises within the farm. He'll also speak, I guess, on the, gardening part of his business, the flower growing part of his business. But he also has, again, for families going with multiple interests, he'll have the farming interest, and he'll have, he's written books on farming in Ireland. He's generally seen as one of the most forward-thinking people within farming, and he's involved in a lot of discussions around the future of farming and so on. So yeah, that'll be a very, very interesting talk. So you can see from the speakers, a wide array and a wide base of topics that could potentially be covered. So they'll definitely be interesting. And again, just playing to the fact that within a group visiting there'll be multiple interests. So yeah, very, very good. So that's the main talkers of the day on Sunday the 7th of June. On the 6th then, which is the previous day, some members of the Laois Garden Trail are hosting various events. And again, some of these events will be of interest to different people. So Ballintubbert Heritage Garden from 12 until 5 that day, they have Ballinkill Vintage, so a lot of vintage cars and so on. I think we went down there for a visit ourselves. Ballintubbert's about 25 minutes away from us. We went down for a visit one day about 2 years ago, and there happened to be a vintage club there that day as well. And I'm not particularly into cars myself, but it was really interesting to see all the old cars, all the different people chatting, and it was just interesting because you see certain cars on movies and whatnot. And as I say, personally, I'm not into cars, but it was a really interesting and a very good day down there. Obviously, we went out to the gardens, which was the main reason for the visit, but they're fantastic. And yeah, that's on 12 to 5 on the 6th, so Saturday the 6th. It's a fully organic garden, I believe. I know that they had the festivals of garden and nature there recently, and the gardens themselves there's a lot of interesting things there. I would have been there maybe 25, 30 years ago when those gardens were being revamped. I was there on a couple of occasions, and I wanted to go back last year to kind of see where they were today. And yeah, they look great. Fully organic at this stage as well. Very, very close to Spink, Hazelbrook Garden. Julianne has been on the podcast before, and she's a brilliant garden, but also very big into animals, protecting animals, looking after animals, taking in animals. I think quite a lot of them over there. But she's opening her garden on the day before as well, from 12 until 6, and all proceeds for that go to the ISPCA. Could be the Laois branch possibly, but it's a charitable day anyway, so all proceeds go to that. Gash Gardens, which is a super garden owned by Mary Keenan, uh, and Mary is the editor of the Irish Garden, and she will be given, I think that day it's in conjunction with the beekeepers, maybe the Dunamaise beekeepers, and her event is a paid event, so I think it's €25 ticket. It's from 10:30 until 1. There's a talk around bees, there's a talk around providing for bees, and then at the end of it, you take away a plant, which is a bee-friendly plant, I guess, and that's included in your 25. So you get the talk, then you'll be able to visit the gardens. Obviously, they're fantastic gardens. Um, a garden that is beautiful, huge amount of specimen trees and plants in it, and loads of different types of interest. But a garden that feels settled. It's a garden it's built for a while. It's really settled into its environment, and it just feels like a gorgeous space, really, really nice space. I think originally created by her dad, and Mary is obviously putting her own stamp on it now. And yeah, fantastic specimen plants near to the river. I think it's the River Nore, could be. Not sure on the river, but it's near a river. You can walk down to the river through the gardens. A lot of really, really nice specimen plants in it. So that's on the day before as well, and worth to visit. Slightly different one. There's a yoga meditation in Portlaoise in the Rockview Woodland pathways, 10:30 to 11. I might not have the name right, but if you need to check it out, check out the Laois Garden Festival website, and you'll see all the information there and booking information there. But it's a yoga and meditation. It's from 10:30 until I think 12 o'clock. So again, for people who are looking for something different from the group, you can have your meditation, your yoga, and hopefully the weather is good, and then out in nature. And yeah, it's a different type of event. Um, in Gortnally Garden, there is a willow workshop, and that is from 10 until 4 on the Saturday as well. So again, that's a paid event, and you're getting to actually get in and work with willow and making something out of it. So combining the Saturday and the Sunday, there's loads to do there when you're featuring, when you're taking into 2 days. And I know a lot of people, if you're going to travel from a distance, will like to take in 2 days. So there's lots there, and definitely going to be worthwhile. Now, when I mentioned the plant sellers or the vendors that are there, I go through the list of them. Hopefully, I haven't missed any, but there's a vast, vast list of them. I know some of them, don't know them all, but I'll give you what I do know. Tree World is there. They're very good. They're a local nursery, so they're a very good tree nursery between Timahoe and Stradbally. So not far from the site of Buds and Blossoms. And as I say, trees are their specialty, but they also have a garden centre that sells everything from your bedding plants to your perennials to your trees and so on, and everything in between. Railstown plants are there. Shady plants. I've had Mike on the podcast before. So Mike sells, as the name suggests, plants that are suitable for shady areas and those type of plants. So he would do a large range of hostas, for example. He would do, ferns. anything that would be suitable for shady areas. And very leafy plants, generally good structural plants, but Mike is a fountain of knowledge when it comes to that. He was on episode 167 of the podcast, which is a good while ago now. And yeah, talking about all shady plants. So he's there. Spring Hill Nursery is also there. Cottage Garden Plants, as the name suggests, is Cottage Garden Plants. River Lane, they were there last year, brilliant nursery doing, and they do lots of plants, but one of their main things is David Austin roses. So they're specialists in those. Leaf and Petal is there, another brilliant nursery. Again, they were there last year. Their main kind of focus is scented pelargoniums, so quite unusual ones with scents and yeah, really beautiful, that kind of nice dainty pelargoniums. And there's another nursery called Cold Blow Nurseries, which I hadn't heard of before. They're Gash Gardens again. That's Mary Keenan's garden and nursery as well. Um, then there's Reshka Plant Nursery, if I have that name right. So they do carnivorous plants. So basically, the plants that will eat insects, things like heucheras, hostas. That's their kind of specialty. Lots of plants as well, but they're the kind of specialty. Individual Plant Nursery is there. Vic Ind, who has been on the podcast as well, episode 227. And what she specializes in is the quirky, the unusual, as she calls it herself, these plants that you won't see elsewhere, but have, unique features and unique ways of growing. And peat free, possibly plastic free, not sure on that one, but thinking from an ecologically friendly perspective. She's speaking at Bloom this weekend. She's doing all the plant fairs and has been doing quite a bit of speaking. She's a very good gardener as well, but specializes in these kind of quirky plants, as she says herself. Another name, love the name of this nursery, Smarty Plants. They're also there, don't know the nursery as such, but love the name. The local nursery to here is also there, Sheila Farm. So Sheila is a farm, local farm to here, actually, not far from where I live, in the same kind of very, very close, within a mile or so of where I live. She produces honey, from her own hive. She produces and sells eggs. She produces free range pork. But from the plant's perspective, she does a lot of wildflowers. Again, all grown outside, all grown hardy in small plants. So lovely, the likes of cardamom pretenses, and that's the cuckoo flower, and lots of other wildflowers in small pots, ready to hit the ground and ready to grow. So great to see local nurseries within the festival. Willowfields is another one. Leeks National or Laois Natural Way. I might have that pronunciation wrong, but they do a lot of veg and herbs. Um, Sarah Lang does a lot of vintage gardening stuff, so like old urns, old different seatings, things that can be used as flower pots, large bats again that you would use as a flower pot. Two Sisters perennials are there. One of my favorite stands every year, Rosabelle Plant Supports. So again, Rosie was on the podcast before. Herself and her husband produced these up in County Down, and they're like plant supports, but they're different. They're a little bit fancier looking. They have nice designs on them, nice colors, nice little birds and things on them. So they're functional, but they're also decorative and beautiful within the garden. I have some of her pieces here. They made me a bird feeder. So for holding the bird feeders, I was having trouble with sparrowhawk coming. So they made a feeder that was quite tall, slender, and yeah, it's working really well. Looks the part. Get a lot of birds around it, and doing really, really well. Doing exactly what I wanted it to do. So yeah, lovely, lovely piece. Anyone wants to talk about horticulture as a career, Teagasc Kildalton are there as well. There's beekeeping, there's Mulhall Obelisks, again, another local company. So they're a company that make obelisks, arches, plant supports, all that sort of thing. quite local to Spink, and they're there. Any of you that visit Bloom would be used to seeing them up there as well. As I said, the beekeeping, there's wood turning, there's the kids area, so there's a multitude of stuff. And just look up laoisgardenfestival.com. You can buy your tickets online prior to the event, or you can pay in at the gate. So you can go either way, pre-book or pay at the gate. The day itself, the main day itself, runs from 12 until 6, so it's a good length of time. There's obviously all the food stalls, there's a big marquee there with home baking, teas, coffees. There's your usual chip van and all that sort of stuff. Other gardens in the area that can be taken in should you be making a weekend out of it. You have Emo Court, Haywood Gardens, only probably a 5 minute drive from the site. Castle Durrow. You have Dunmore Country School. That I think that would be appointment. You can't just rock in there. Fruit Lawn again, I'm pretty sure by appointment. And Laois Garden in Stravely. And Walnut Garden, I don't know, but on the Laois Garden Trail as well. So, and again, check with any of those before you go. Emo Court is obviously open pretty much all the time. Same with Haywood. But the others, just check beforehand. But there's some other brilliant gardens to take in while planning your festival weekend. So yeah, it's a great festival. Always, as I say, good. It's a good atmosphere at it. There's something for everybody within the family. There's a brilliant sort of local food scene going down here. You have the likes of the Merry Mill porridge are going to be there. G's Jams, I think, are there. There's, so they're all kind of local foods, and I'm definitely forgetting some of the food people, but there's somebody that makes, kind of spicy sauces and so on. They're there. There's a brewing company there, so you have lots. The food scene is being well represented as well. So if you have a foodie in your family, there's something for them as well. So yeah, it's a lovely festival and local to me here. So love to see it going well. Love to see it going from strength to strength, and delighted to sort of promote it or highlight it to you guys, the listeners. So if you can at all, try and get to it. It's a great weekend. Plan to get there myself, so hopefully if some of you are there, we'll get to see you. But that's been this episode promoting the Laois Garden Festival. To get your tickets, check out Laois Garden Festival online, or turn up on the day and purchase your tickets at the gate. But definitely sure to be a good festival, and if you're there, hopefully I get to see you and say hello. That's been this week's episode. Thanks for listening, and until the next time, happy gardening.